Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. We're just playing a bit more Overwatch here because, yeah. There's only one game that I've been playing all week. It's not Overwatch. It's Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. I think that Let's Play is now like a little over 40 videos, something like that. And a lot of those videos are, well, all the videos are over an hour. A lot of them are like over an hour and a half, I think. The one I just finished recording was 2.5 hours just because I wanted to finish the dungeon in one go. But yeah, it's a massive game, and that's not accounting all the stuff I did off camera. You know, they say like it's an hour and 20 or 120 hours long. Yeah, it sure is. If you want to actually kind of do everything, which why wouldn't you? And it's just so freaking good. It's yeah, the best CRPG I've ever played. It's better than Baldur's Gate 2. And frankly, I love it. And I'm probably going to do a Let's Play of Kingmaker because I don't know if that's going to be as good. But I've heard that they've made plenty of improvements to Kingmaker to make it more like Wrath of the Righteous. And some people have said they prefer Kingmaker. But I also really want to replay through Wrath of the Righteous already because of the whole Mythic Path thing and different companions and different decisions that I've made. But yeah, it's just so amazing.
Feels like sunlight, huh? You take a lot of damage, huh? I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's really all I've been playing. That's all I've been playing, all I've been recording, just that's it. That's my life right now is Pathfinder. I can't believe I slept on that game. I can't believe I played it for like half an hour. It's like, it's okay. Really, just lesson learned.
Be careful, Shinaba.
Spotted. Can I just say, every Sunday I order from Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and I always get the same thing. I get a sunrise sunset smoothie, and I look forward to it every week. It's fantastic. This week I saw as one of their new items, they had a super sunrise sunset, which was the same thing, but it added multivitamin. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I don't ever get any vitamins of any kind. Maybe I would benefit every week from getting a little multivitamin. So I figured, okay, it's just going to be like a flavorless powder that they dump in, and I'll get my multivitamin. No, not flavorless at all. completely ruined the whole thing. I got like half of it down. I'm like, oh god, I can't do it. Why on earth?
Do not know.
I assume they have multivitamins in a flavorless form because they must. I don't think a vitamin comes pre-flavored.
Actuating the barrier.
So they specifically picked a flavored multivitamin, and it tastes vile. Maybe I'm not healthy enough to enjoy its flavor profile, but goddamn, am I never getting that again? Which is kind of unfortunate, because as I said, I'd probably benefit from a multivitamin, but I'm not fucking up my $10 smoothie. I'll just take a multivitamin pill if I want that. Really disappointing.
There is no shame in collaboration.
Anyways, rant over. So this week on this channel we had Gloomhaven, which is nearing completion. I think there's 2 more videos of that ready to drop down.
My world.
And we had some Wolong, and then I decided Wolong became No Long. And I just abandoned it. I don't do that too often, and usually if I start a Let's Play and abandon it, I won't even upload it. I won't even upload like the first part. I do that pretty often. I'll upload one part and I won't do any more.
Someone needs to fill this saddle.
But yeah, I wasn't really feeling Wolong. And instead, I started uploading Wild Hearts. Now, I've not actually played Wild Hearts in a few weeks. But, you know, I've got a handful of videos ready to rock. And, once I have to record some more, I'll record some more.
Feeling the heat. Trigger fingers still itching. Fire. Ooh, that's where it hurts.
So that's that. After Gloomhaven, I think I'm just gonna start uploading Pathfinder. It's gonna be an insanely long thing to upload, and I don't know how much people are gonna be interested in it. But at the same time, I think viewers of this channel we're pretty well acquainted with long, slow Let's Plays that involve me reading a lot and contemplating over like level ups. So it's kind of right in my wheelhouse. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it. So yeah, may as well start uploading that. Two Brothers Play, we've been continuing Divinity. You know, we're doing 2 streams a week now, and that's made us kind of more bold in just playing through a game and not worrying about viewership as much, I guess. So again, I still don't know if we'll finish Divinity, but we're on our way.
Hey, it's Eagle.
And that's the tale of the tape, as they say, for Mangg's LPs this week. Oh, god damn it. Over on the Exploring series, I finished up Mom Jewel and Karar. It's all done now. If you've been waiting to watch the whole thing in one go, I can assure you the one go is fairly lengthy, but you know. It's there. It's all done. And this week I worked on bird SCPs, which has been a long time in the making, apparently. It's been on the polls for, I don't know, it could very well have been on the polls for over a year. I haven't checked, actually, in a while, if anything was ready to fall off. So yeah, bird SCPs, like a 30-minute compilation of 6 different bird-related SCPs. I saw a comment already from a patron that they were a little disappointed I didn't mention Team Bird. Which is like a canon or something. I don't really know much about Team Bird. I didn't really consider it because it's not an SCP. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could have mentioned it. So that's that. So, April 1st is coming up. April 1st is coming up. April Fools. And, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've been kind of dreading it. I didn't ever want April Fools to be like a tradition that I had to like adhere to. The first one I did was My Little Pony, and it was just like an idea that came to me, and I was like, that would be kind of funny if I just did a serious lore take on My Little Pony. And it was pretty funny, I think, and it was all fine.
I have a need for swiftness.
And then the following year, I just happened to have another funny idea that was kind of in a similar vein of taking something designed for kids and making something serious and humorous about it. But I went a different approach that was much more creative on my part, and that was the Teletubbies video. Of taking... taking Teletubbies, which is normally, you know, very saccharine and kidsy and all that, and trying to make connections from the Cthulhu mythos in it. And that was specifically because I read an article or something talking about the location where they filmed the first season or whatever season of Teletubbies, and how it had a lake there, and they had like completely filled in the lake entirely, and have never spoken about it. And I was just like, oh, it sounds so insidious when you put it like that. And so I just kind of went from there, and I just had an idea that popped in my head. Then the following year was, I want to say, the Scooby-Doo thing, Zombie Island. And I can't remember specifically if that was an idea that I had that just came to me randomly, or if I was trying to find an idea for April Fools.
Hey, it's Giggles.
And I was just like, oh, remember Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island? I should do like a review of it. Because if I'm doing April Fools stuff, I needed to come up with new things every time. You know, I could just do like another Teletubbies type thing where I take a kidsy stuff and just make it Cthulhu mythos.
Help here.
I can do all sorts of stuff. But I wanted it to be fresh and original. So yeah, I did the Scooby-Doo thing, and that was a lot of, again, creative writing on my part, because I had to come up with just like jokes, basically. It wasn't like tied to really anything that I normally did. It was literally just like a old school kind of like Spoonie-esque review of an animated film from years ago. It was very much a departure of my normal stuff, and more disappointingly, it got, you know, copyright stricken immediately, and so I couldn't post it on April 1st on YouTube. Eventually that cleared up, but yeah, it ruined the effect a little bit.
I'm with you.
Torbjorn, ready to work.
And then at that point, I was like, you know, I really don't want to make this a thing. I don't want it to be a tradition or anything. You know, if I have an awesome idea come to me, and I get this spark, this flash of inspiration, then fine. You know, we'll make the video. But if not, I don't want to force it. No one wants to do that. You should never have to force creativity. So then I think the following year was when I really started to dread April 1st, because I knew people expected something, and that's when I did Cats and Dogs, right? For Lovecraft, which was really just like a cop-out of just a thing from Lovecraft that I found humorous, and I'm just like, I'm gonna read this because it's the lowest amount of effort I can do. And it did okay in views and stuff, but it wasn't. What the fuck? That's crazy good.
Score 0-1.
But yeah, I mean, it was clearly like a cop-out on my end. And then last year, I may be forgetting a year somewhere in there. Last year was the Bright video, the list of things that Dr. Bright's not allowed to do. And I've gotten requests for that in the past, and I was like, okay, well, obviously, I don't find it that humorous. And this was before all that shit with Bright really came into the light. I think it was inspired by some comment that I got on some SCP video where I like went into a more of a whisper or something when I was doing a reading, like a journal section, and somebody really commented on it and it was like, oh, it was awesome, so great to hear you whisper. And I was like, yeah, okay, you want to hear me fucking whisper? How about this? How about an hour of it? And that turned out to be far harder of a project than I thought. I really did not give enough respect to ASMR people. Whispering for that amount of time is rough.
We're in this together. All of us.
But again, it was sort of a cop-out because it was just a reading. I didn't have any creative input on it. It wasn't really that funny. But I was just like, all right, I gotta do something. So that brings us to this year, where, again, like I said, I was dreading it.
Every soldier needs a cause.
And I had an idea in my head that I don't think was like a flash of brilliance or anything. I've kind of talked about it before as a possibility, and it would be acceptable. It would be better than what I've done the last few years as far as creativity goes. But I wasn't like crazy excited about it, you know. because I think it is kind of silly. I don't know how funny I think it is personally, and that was usually my metric. I was like, okay, I guess I can do it. And then I got a random idea, like a week ago.
Our future will be forged.
I got a random idea, and I was like, you know what? This is what I should be working on. This could have potential to be quite big. That has the potential, maybe not for like viralness, because it is still somewhat niche, but it certainly has far broader appeal than anything I've done in the last few years. And it's something that does not exist on YouTube. Does not exist on YouTube, and I'm in a unique position of knowledge and capabilities where I could be the one that brings this to fruition. And on top of that, it sort of bridges a gap that I've been thinking about in my career. And so normally I would keep my April Fool's video hidden, and it is a big secret until it comes out, but I'm just going to talk about it because it's not an April Fool's video. I'm going to release it on April 1st, or that's the plan. I mean, it's early in development, and obviously we're already almost halfway through March, so there's certainly a possibility I don't get it done for April 1st. But I've set that deadline for myself to kind of kick myself in the ass. The only issue is that I'm addicted to Wrath of the Righteous, so I'm trying to beat that game quickly so I can, like, get over the obsession a little bit. But anyways, the idea that just flashed in my brain last week was the SCP Foundation versus the 40K universe. And that's not the title of the video. The title of the video, for clickbait purposes and to make it feel more like out of character for me, is can the SCP Foundation take on the 40K universe? And it's very different for me because it's nothing like I've written before. It's not funny. It's not, I mean, there's no, I mean, obviously, it's not meant to be like a humorous take on the idea. It's meant to be like a serious discussion, looking at both sides and seeing like how well the Foundation could do with like collateral damage, and assuming they had access to all their, you know, anomalies and were willing to use all these anomalies, and what could they do without like destroying their universe and things like that, or their planet. It's not going to be comprehensive, not nearly comprehensive. Yeah, I mean, I think you could have a podcast every week dedicated to just talking about this topic and just going through all these SCPs and determining like, okay, what would this do? How would they use this? How would this be viable? You know, all these sort of things. And my main topic is, of course, them versus the Imperium of Mankind. But, you know, I mentioned the Tau because I figure the best case for them is honestly like the Tau encountering them and just dragging them into the Tau Empire, and the Foundation and stuff just kind of going without much resistance. But, you know, it's not very interesting to talk about. And I've set up sort of a theoretical, hypothetical scenario in which these two universes would collide, because, you know, the Foundation encounters portals to other dimensions all the time and stuff like that. And so I kind of talked already in the script about, like, okay, what happens if, you know, this faction discovers the Foundation and our Earth first? What happens if the Foundation discovers the portal first and sends in drones and stuff to scope it out, and blah, 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 blah. So it's going to be far from comprehensive, and it's obviously going to be divisive. I mean, it's a topic that, like I said, you could talk about for hours upon hours upon hours, and you can have all sorts of different takes on it and these kind of things. And I'm fairly knowledgeable about the SCP universe, but you know, even I don't have like encyclopedic knowledge of every SCP. So there is a bit of a hiccup there of like I have to keep going through and like looking up SCPs and thinking about SCP, different ones that I've covered and ones I haven't covered, and like, should I mention this? Is this viable? I mean, we're going to touch upon the big ones and the big things that could happen, and you know, there's the video is going to be interesting no matter what. I'm less knowledgeable about 40K, and that's where it's a little worrisome. I'm going to mention something, or I'm going to speculate about something, and somebody's going to come in, oh, well, actually, in the book Abaddon's Despoiling or something on page 37, you know, or, you know, who knows what. There's when you go into a universe it's that big. God only knows. But, you know, I have the broad points down for 40K, and I am doing research. It's a very research-heavy script, and it's early days. Like I said, I have about 8 minutes written. I want to get it to about 30. Like I said, you could talk about this for hours, but I don't want to make that lengthy of a video for multiple reasons. Primarily because I have hopes of this being a bit more of a viral hit for me. That's my hopes. I don't know. I'm fairly certain SCP people will likely click on it. As far as from my channel, I'm fairly certain the 40K people from my channel will click on it. I think there's crossover, and then I'm hoping there's a bit broader appeal in the non-subscriber market. I think you still kind of have to be familiar with the SCP universe to enjoy it. But, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. So, yeah, it's, like I said, it doesn't exist. I looked. I'm not the first person to come up with the concept, obviously. And if you go on like Reddit and stuff, you'll find loads of threads of people discussing different different ideas. And I've been looking at those for ideas for SCPs to mention that could be viable or interesting to talk about. So I'm not the first person to come up with the idea of these two universes clashing, but there's no video of it. And like I said, much like the Final Fantasy XIV stuff, I'm just kind of in a unique position where I can bring this idea to life. So there's still a bunch of work left on it. I'm hoping for April 1st. I'm hoping I do a good job on it. But yeah, I found in the last, 5-6 years I've been doing this, some of the best stuff that I do is when I just get random flashes of ideas, because that's where the passion comes from. When you are forcing yourself to come up with an idea for a video, you do not have passion for it. It's just those random things like, yep, this is a good idea, I want to work on it, and you work on it. And generally, you know, that passion kind of comes through. Like what else? I mean, the Final Fantasy XIV was a good example. The Blair Witch mythology video I did, that was just a random idea I had, and I squeezed it in October when I was already overloaded, but I had the passion for it. And I was like, I want to get this done. I think this is a good idea. I want to really talk about this, and that's now one of my top videos of all time. So. And also, like I said, bridging the gap. I'm in this conflicting moment of deciding between more SCP and more 40K, and this video is right in the middle. Right smack dab in the middle, and that's kind of where I got the ideas. I was just thinking about these two universes in my head, you know? And so there you have it. So, we'll see it's kind of an introduction for the 40k people to SCP. It's an introduction to SCP people to 40k if they haven't looked into that too much. Now, I'm not going super in depth on 40k. I'm not explaining all the different factions and things like that. I'm going into it assuming you're familiar with the basics of both universes. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe I don't understand viralness and I should be much more basic about it, but I'm going to assume if you click on a video titled SCP Foundation versus 40k Universe, you are interested in those two things. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, hoping for an April 1st release. I have, let's see how many days are in March. Okay, we got a full 31 days in March. So I have a decent amount of time here. I have like 2.5 weeks. Could be done. I told this to my mom and she's like, what? You don't have enough time to do that by April 1st? And I'm like, I could get it done by next week if I really just kick myself in the ass. But I find that rushing stuff, especially creative stuff, you tend to make mistakes. So there's no need for me to rush it that much. And there's really no need for me to rush it to April 1st, aside from I need a deadline. Otherwise, it's just going to get relegated to the dustbin like the next Final Fantasy XIV video. So, yeah. You know, give me your thoughts on that. If you have any suggestions for SCPs that I should mention, let me know. I've only written like 8 minutes worth, but I've been thinking about it a lot in my head. You know, you just kind of start writing in your head and storing it away. So, you know, I'd probably say I have like 12 minutes total, 14 minutes total, between notepad and my head. But yeah, I'm thinking about like kind of an interesting thing of taking like one of the admonition SCPs. Like what was, I'm trying to think of the number. Well, now I'll just look it up real quick. Yeah, SCP-6659, where the Foundation, you know, develops a device that can kill gods. And I'm like, you know, what if they turned this device on the Emperor of Mankind? You know? You know, given enough time, and if they were allowed to research and everything, like, you know, the Emperor of Mankind would be an SCP, probably SCP, you know, a 001. The Warp would be an SCP. All the different factions would be SCPs. They would study this stuff and try and develop ways to neutralize it. And like, if they could use like SCP-6659 and actually kill the Emperor of Mankind, that would basically fuck over the Imperium entirely. And I think they would just not be able to mount, or not, I mean, if they knew that the Earth, that the Foundation did it, then yes. I mean, obviously they would band together in the greatest crusade of all time to try and kill all of our population. But you know, that would fuck up their warp travel completely. So how much could they really do? I mean, there's definitely some interesting like I said, you could make a podcast out of this pretty damn easily. Just going through thousands of SCPs and kind of discussing it. It's an interesting concept. Because the Foundation, you know, they're hopelessly, just laughably outgunned by any faction in the 40k universe. Like, it's completely just, it's like comparing a bazooka to a stick, you know. It's just not even a comparison. But anomalies can be so game changing. And if you take, you know, whenever people discuss like superheroes and stuff fighting each other, they'll mention like, oh, he's fighting, he has no morals, or, you know, he has, the gloves are off, or whatever, you know, he's not caring about casualties or whatever. They'll always throw that in. It's like, oh, it's Spider-Man, but he has no restraint. It's like, oh shit. And it's like, okay, well, if you take the SCP Foundation and you say that they suddenly have no restraint, it's do or die, and they are going to use SCPs to their greatest potential, they're kind of a force to be reckoned with. There's some really dangerous shit they could toss around. But that's why I'm saying it's kind of interesting, like, what can they do without destroying themselves? There's a lot of like universal destroyers and stuff. It's like, sure, you'll take care of your problem, but you'll take care of all of your problems, you know? So it's going to be a far from comprehensive video, but I think it's going to be interesting. Perhaps more to SCP people than 40k people, because most of the stuff we're going to be talking about is SCPs. And of course, it's like anytime you talk about like a versus, it's all theoretical. It's all up to writing and blah blah blah, and you know, it could go any way you want. It's like, okay, they take SCP-6659 and they point it at the Emperor of Mankind. Does it work? I don't know. It depends on the writer. You know, it could work or it doesn't work. So everything's kind of just, yeah, it's just talking about fictional concepts. But yeah, I'm interested in talking about it and making the video, so we'll get it. It's gonna happen at some point or another. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I don't want to put it off for too long. But yeah, I need to get over my obsession to Wrath of the Righteous. Alright, good stuff. So yeah, Bird SCPs tomorrow. More Gloomhaven on this channel. The end of Gloomhaven this week, and the start of Wrath of the Righteous. And more Wild Hearts on the way, which is a pretty fun game. They're updating it. I don't know if it's crawled out of its mostly negative yet. No, it's actually at mixed now. It's got a mixed rating. That's good to see. All the complaints are still about how it's unfinished and has horrible performance, but it's crawling out of its mostly negative. I really hope they sort it out. I really hope they sort it out for Wild Hearts, because it is a very fun game, and Monster Hunter needs like a really good competitor for both their sakes. So yeah, I hope for nothing but the best for Wild Hearts. All right, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg, and I'll see you fine folks next week.